Today on Mac Music Review, we're asking the age-old question, is Pinkerton by Weezer a 5-star album? Let's hop right into it. Pinkerton is basically the Blue Album's weirder, younger brother that people don't like to talk about. I'm kidding. I can't come up with a good analogy. But this is kind of, if you're not a Weezer fan, you may have never heard a single song off of this thing. It's really weird. Weezer is one of the most successful alternative bands of all time in terms of hits. They have so many hits on so many different albums that have gotten radio play and gotten all this popularity. This album didn't spawn a hit. Even so, it is tied with as their most critically acclaimed album. This one is just praised like crazy among among music criticism and everything. People say this is an amazing album, as well as the Blue Album. These are known as Weezer's two best albums, but if you're not a Weezer fan, you may have never even heard of it. You may not be familiar with it. I wasn't familiar with it until I checked it out a long time ago, and I heard, Weezer has another 5-star album? They have something else amazing that's not the Blue Album? I was like, what? And I checked this out, and I was like, wow. The album is remarkably short. That's one of the first things that stands out about this album. Several of the songs don't even hit the 3-minute mark. Only 3 songs are past 4 minutes, or 4 minutes long. Those songs are Across the Sea, Good Life, and El Scorcho. Yeah, it only has 10 songs. The songs are really not that long. It's a very short, tight, little package album. Little easy to digest. Well, you think it will be, and then you listen to it and you're like, oh. Pinkerton is not like any other Weezer album. One, it's the most focused Weezer album. It really has a very concrete theme, and that is of romantic relationships, of sexual relationships, of Rivers Cuomo interacting with the opposite sex. Is very much the theme of every single song. And musically, it's really hard rock. It is distorted and messy and electric guitars, and it's nothing like it. It almost sounds like you're listening to a completely different band than the one that made the Blue Album. The quirkiness is still there, the awkwardness is still there, but not really in the music. It's not in the music, and this really is a very serious and mature album, one that can really get underneath your skin, and that's what it tries to do, especially with just how awkward and honest the lyrics are and how raw this album is. Tired of Sex is a song where he says, as the title suggests, I'm tired of sex, but at the same time he just constantly wants to be making love, and it's just this contrast, and you're like dang. But then you have stuff like No Other One, where he just talks about the effects of being in love with someone has on a person, and just how No Other One, you're just completely focused on them and nothing else matters, and you feel like no one else in the world will fulfill your needs and desires. Then Why Bother? He talks about why bother, it's gonna hurt me, it's gonna leave when you desert me, and it just feels so raw coming from him. Just the lyrics on this thing are just doesn't hold back. Why get involved in a relationship in the first place? And you can see that fear throughout this album, because when you get to Falling for You, he's about to have this sexual interaction. She's in the room with him, and he says he's terrified that I'm falling for you, is the ideal behind this. And then Butterfly. In Butterfly, he apologizes for hurting her. And just the imagery in this song is just so vivid. It's like a metaphor for Butterfly being the girl and talking about something that's delicate, and just it's a truly tragic song, truly heartbreaking song that you just feel for her, you feel for him. It's just kind of, and the music on this one is completely different than the rest of the album. It's super acoustic, it's stripped back, and you just feel it. You feel this song in your bones, underneath your skin. You also have songs like Across the Sea, where he talks about long-distance relationships, where he talks about him and Japanese girls, man. There's a thing about Japanese girls on this album. This and El Scorcho. But it's a really beautiful song about being across the sea and desperately wanting to be with this person even though they're separated by long distance. Something you probably don't have a relationship with someone in Japan, but you can see the you can feel the I think it's a song people could relate to. El Scorcho and Pink Triangle are actually comedic, but there is rawness beneath the comedic. There is raw emotion behind what is easy to laugh at, especially with El Scorcho, because you have this like weird backing vocals that's like a Muppet voice talking. It says, "Come and dance with me." It's like, and then you have the really awkward opening to the song. I'm not going to say it, but it's very iconic. If you've heard the song, every Weezer fan, you can bring up El Scorcho and they'll roll their eyes and be like, uh-huh, El Scorcho. Or they'll be like, I love El Scorcho, or just whatever. It's an iconic song for that beginning, like it or not. It's my least favorite song on this album, as you might be able to tell. Still, not a bad song. It's still actually a really, really good song. And there is emotion behind it, and there is meaning behind it, and it is well produced and everything. As the entire album is, this whole album sounds amazing. Then you have Pink Triangle, which once again is about he's in a relationship and then, oh no, she's a lesbian. Which is so funny. But it's really not. It's real for him. It actually is tragic, and there is emotion behind this. It's really easy to laugh at it, but there really is some deep emotion behind this song as well. Pinkerton is a truly amazing album. It's easily the best Weezer album in my mind. Actually, I shouldn't say easily, because the Blue Album is something else, but you know, this is my favorite Weezer album. I think it's not just my favorite, but I think it is the best Weezer album. Complaint you may have with the album is that the songs don't sound that different from each other, unlike the Blue Album, and that is true. The songs all do follow more of the same formula of this. They're all about the same length, and they're all about this just really hard rock music. But every single song sounds amazing, and lyrically, this is one of the most raw and truly emotional, one of the most honest albums ever made. It's really a very powerful listen. Once you peel back the layers, because it's going to take you a second to register everything that he's saying. Because at first you're really just paying attention to the music, because the music on this thing is so loud and in your face. But the more you listen to it, the more you digest the lyrics, the more you analyze and understand them. And the more you realize this is really a truly amazing album. Yes, Pinkerton is a 5-star album. Weezer is doing a new album in 2020. Van Weezer, I don't know. I think it's a play on Van Halen. Dude, Weezer is trolling. They are a band that is literally just trolling. They made a mobile game, not a mobile game, and a PC game for the song End of the Game. And it's absolutely hysterical. It is hilarious. I don't know if it's still up, but I'll put a link in the description if I remember. And if it even exists anymore, it probably does. But the game is just a troll. They're trolling with this new album. It's like the title, the album cover, which is like nothing. It's like a parody of Van Halen or something, or Van Halen. And it's just like, what in the world, man? What's up with Weezer? What happened to this band? They were always kind of a comedic band. They always had comedy tucked away. It's in their music videos. It's even on this album, which I think is an amazing album. It's comedic at parts. Pink Triangle and El Scorcho, to me, especially El Scorcho, is definitely meant to have an air of, is definitely meant to be kind of funny. But, yeah, I love this album. Thank you for watching the video. Have a great rest of your day.